Meanwhile, north of the border, controversy continues to engulf Justin Trudeau, or as we like to call him here at the show, handsome Bernie Sanders. Melissa Gismondi, who is a columnist over at the New York Times, she has a piece today called The Downfall of Canada's Dreamy Boyfriend, which is hilarious to me. And Justin Trudeau, so as I talked about this yesterday, do I think that people's lives and careers should be ruined because you discovered a picture from 20 years ago in which they were wearing dark makeup, and they didn't necessarily intend to be racist, but it was a racist incident, or at least it was a racial incident. It was a stereotypical incident. Does that mean that you should toss them out of office now? Does it mean you should ruin their career? The answer is no. I think that's bad for the country. I think it's bad for the culture. I think it is a lack of forgiveness and a lack of charitable interpretation of people's behavior. There's a concept in Judaism called dan l'chavschus, meaning that you should attempt to see everybody's behavior in the best possible light as opposed to the worst. In the political world, obviously, that does not apply. I will say that if anybody deserves this on a sort of cosmic level, it is Justin Trudeau, who has made a career out of being a complete asshat with regard to his own chiding of people for not being woke enough. He's been the woke prince in the woke kingdom of Canada. I mean, for example, there was this little incident that happened just a couple of years ago in which a person asked him a question about mankind, and he chided her for not using the word humankind. It was absolute absurdity.
We came here today to ask you to also look into the policies that religious charitable organizations have in our legislation so that it can also be changed, because maternal love is the love that's going to change the future of mankind. So we'd like you to look into
we like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind, because it's more inclusive.
There we go, exactly.
Oh my God. People kind. It's more mankind means people kind, you stupid ass. Okay, but this is who Justin Trudeau is. So he really does deserve what he is getting on a cosmic level. And he deserves it also because he has engaged in this whole intersectionality woke off. So again, he deserves, like yesterday, even during his apology, he did the abject apology routine. He says, we must recognize intersectionality. Intersectionality is super duper important. Really what he should say is, we have to recognize when people do things that violate others' sense of propriety, when people do things that are inherently offensive. But honestly, I apologized already for all of this. I didn't mean to offend anybody. I know better now because we all know better now. Let's move on. Instead, he doubles down on the standard. Well, if you're going to double down on the standard, then we're going to hold you to the standard. So here's Justin Trudeau talking about the idiocy that is intersectionality.
We've taken many concrete actions to fight against racism, to fight against intolerance, to fight against anti-Black racism specifically, to recognize unconscious bias and systemic discrimination that exists in Canada and elsewhere, to work to overcome and recognize intersectionalities that people live with in a way that so many of us simply cannot understand or appreciate the microaggressions and the challenges being faced.
Live by the intersectional sword, die by the intersectional sword. I mean, really, the microaggressions that people live with. This seems like a microaggression right here. Like this picture right here of him dressed up in brownface as Aladdin in 2001. That seems like a little bit microaggressory. Also, the video of him dressed in blackface with an afro. Also, the other picture of him dressed in blackface with an afro. It's a little microaggressory. So again, does Beto on a cosmic level deserve what he is getting? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when he's walking around doing what he did yesterday, I acknowledge I come from privilege. Okay, well, you asked for it, buddy. It's coming around to clock you right in the side of the head like a cow getting ready for the McDonald's burger, but enjoy.
I've always acknowledged that I come from a place of privilege, but I now need to acknowledge that comes with a massive blind spot. I have dedicated my leadership and my service to Canada to try and counter intolerance and racism everywhere I can. Wanting to do good and wanting to do better simply isn't good enough, and you need to take responsibility for mistakes that hurt people who thought I was an ally.
See, if you were a good person, maybe what Justin Trudeau would do here, if you were a better person, I should say, maybe he's a good person, I don't know. If you were a better person, a more generous person, what he would do here is he would recognize that the problems that he is currently facing are problems created by a worldview that he embraces, a worldview that suggests that everything offensive means that the person who offended, whether with intent or without intent, needs to be wrecked and ruined and dragged through the mud. Instead, he's going to do this Maoist struggle session where he gets to uphold the standard while retaining his office and not losing his power. Okay, that is hypocrisy. If you're upholding the standard because it doesn't apply to you, right? Anybody else this happened to, Justin Trudeau would call for their head, but it's Justin Trudeau, so he's not resigning. Then that makes you a hypocrite. Hypocrisy isn't, there's a standard and I didn't live up to the standard, and now I ought to be punished because I didn't live up to the standard. That's not hypocrisy. And it's also not hypocrisy to say the standard itself is a wrong standard and an ungenerous, bad standard for society. That's not hypocrisy either. It is hypocrisy for Justin Trudeau, who would stand there and call for the resignation of any official in his government who is found to have done this, to stand there and then say, no, I think I'm going to stick right here, guys. I'm going to maintain my power, but hey, I acknowledged my white privilege. I acknowledged my white privilege. Did you know that every like on this video creates one additional glorious leftist tier? Don't ask me why. That's called science. To take advantage of this amazing opportunity, hit the like button.